And good evening, everyone. Welcome to an OSR tabletop live stream with myself, GM Bloodworth. And I apologize about the no notification. This was just something I wanted to set up and introduce any of my new followers over on Rumble. This is the first time that I'm actually streaming live directly to Rumble. It is something that I'm going to make a change, for all of my live streams going forward. So all of my live streams are going to be streamed to three different channels for the OSR tabletop. They will always go to YouTube, X, and now to Rumble as well. So for those of you that are over on Rumble, which I know there's very few of you right now, welcome to the channel. I hope that you enjoy the live streams that will be coming directly to you as well. The live streams are going to be focused on the OSR. So the old school Renaissance, old school revival, old school role playing, whichever term you like to use is perfectly fine. The focus of these chats, they're always going to be on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and they'll be talking about the products, whether they be old products of the OSR or new products of the OSR, and of course, upcoming products of the OSR. The events are going to be conventions and crowdfunding projects that are either presently launched or about to be launched. I will be bringing on content creators for those Kickstarters so that they can pitch their products onto you, as well as go over what you will find in them, and then when they do launch, we will boost again to try to get them over the top. Now, just so you know, when I bring on somebody that is promoting a Kickstarter, that is going to be a Kickstarter that I myself back. And so I'm looking forward to supporting them that way and letting you know, as my subscribers, that I put my own money where my mouth is. I won't push something unless I have skin in the game as well. There is also another aspect that I wanted to bring out to you, and that is going to be the trends in the OSR tabletop role-playing hobby. So just kind of news and things going on, whether it be within the communities, the various YouTube channels and now Rumble channels that I will be following, as well as basically trends that I see in the industry. So are there going to be dramatic changes that will impact the OSR? This goes back to, like, if this was January of 2023, I would have obviously been talking about on live streams the OGL crisis at the time, with new releases of big commotion stirring game systems that are just spreading across everyone's radar. Those are the type of events that I'm talking about, as well as the events of at conventions. If I see a sudden boom of interest around any particular game system, primarily OSR game systems, I will also be talking about that. I like to use the expression having been seen in the wild, and that refers to actually seeing games being run at conventions, or seeing them run online, that oftentimes these are game systems that have not gotten the exposure that I think many of them deserve. And so I would like to use my channel for that purpose of giving that exposure. So this is going to be an effort to build up the following over on Rumble as well. Like I said, I'm going to keep the Rumble channel as a shared live stream conduit for my channel. And I won't be posting regular videos over on Rumble, only live streams, because I'm told that live streams actually do very well there. And so I want to give you all the opportunity in case you go back and forth between YouTube or Rumble, and that's perfectly fine as well. But what I'm asking you to do, and I know this might be a big ask, is if you are already on Rumble, then please follow the channel. I'm going to put the link up in in the right here. So there is the link for my Rumble channel. You can go there. I don't know why I posted twice, but and now 3 times. Oh, I see. Oh, so it posts both in things. So I can see that here for the first time. I'm seeing that it posted on Rumble, and it's also posting here on YouTube as well. So I'm pretty satisfied that it appears to be working. So that's good too. So so let me know what you think about some of these changes. Let me know if you've actually gone over and you've followed over on Rumble. I'm going to just transition over to the next screen and actually show you what's going on over at Rumble, what's been there for a while now. And I pretty much didn't put too much time into it. And I've never run live streams over there. So I'm just going to switch views here real quick and give you a chance to take a look at this. I can expand this view here. And so that's the channel there. As you can see, it is just it is the OSR tabletop live stream at Bloodworth. So, and you can get there right from this link as well. I will switch views here and go over what you're seeing here. So as you can see, I only have 5 followers. It does take, I believe, 1,000 followers before it can start being monetized. But I encourage you to see what little I do have there. Oh, excuse me. And you can see how far back it goes. So I haven't really posted anything there in the last 2 years. I did some Baldur's Gate 3 back then, some Elder Scrolls Online back then. I did Shadow Dark RPG Gameplay Episode 2 back then. Some more Shadow Dark talk 2 years ago. My Appendix N, Gary Gygax's fiction and nonfiction novels. I've since expanded what I have there. Oh, excuse me. I got a little choke. Swords and Wizardry, back on an independent TTRPG month. I might have been doing that during the 4th of July celebration. Yeah, so the 4th of July back in 2023. As you can see, what is the OSR and why is it so hard to define? So that's a great episode going back. As you can see, the channel has never been big. And so I'm hoping that some of this will begin to generate some interest. I have up there my TTRPG journey, the D&D Holmes edition, 1977 to 1978. And then my very first posting up on Rumble back then 2 years ago. So I have not dedicated that much time to this, and I'm looking to make that change. So I'm going to switch back over to this view here. And so, yeah, so if you are inclined, please head on over to Rumble and follow the channel there as well. Like I said, I'm only going to be posting live streams there. So on both on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook, I'm going to continue posting my regular videos. That means my video shorts, my regular videos, full-length videos, and reviews and such. But live streams are going to drop out of Facebook and shift over to Rumble. So that means 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday evenings. That's where my live streams will be going, to YouTube, to X, and to Rumble from now and moving forward. So this is just an announcement video, unless you want to jump in the chat and and mention anything in the chat. I will go and check to see that it is in fact showing live there as well. So I know it's working. So if you do want to log in over there and follow the channel over there, I really do appreciate it. I would like to build that up. This is not for the purpose of creating a backup. I have no concerns about my channel on YouTube, knock on wood. But if you've been following me on YouTube for any length of time, you know that I do not get into anything overtly controversial, let's just say. So, hey, how's it going, Little Britain? Good to see you. So, yeah, this is just a video live stream to introduce the fact that my live streams moving forward are also going to be broadcast over onto Rumble as well as YouTube and X. I'm going to continue with YouTube and X, but I've added Rumble into the mix, and I'm going to try to build up my Rumble channel a little bit as well. From what I understand, there are some people that really do like Rumble more so than YouTube, and so they really don't follow over on YouTube. And so just trying to open it up for more people. If you are someone who is on Rumble and you want to come over and join onto my channel on YouTube, you can do the same thing. I will post that link here on the on this live stream so that you can follow along as well. I'm going to stop sharing. So let me just make sure I'm doing this right. So I'm going to stop sharing there just so I can bring up my YouTube channel, and I will post the link for my YouTube channel over in this chat as well. Hey, good morning to you in Australia. Happy to see you there, and hope everything is doing well. So if you are on Rumble and don't follow my channel on YouTube, here is the YouTube link as well. So that is there. Rumble was put up earlier, and you can certainly join there as well. We have a YouTube Premium sub, so it only makes sense for me to watch here. And yeah, I fully appreciate that, and I understand that. And that's great. I am just giving people an opportunity to follow wherever they happen to be. It's the best thing for the channel, and I think it's the best thing for for my subscribers as well. So equally appreciated wherever you happen to be following along. This is just my effort to give you different options. Not everybody follows on one or the other. I did find, looking at it, that I was getting very few people actually following from Facebook. So what I would do on Facebook, because I don't think live streams go as well on Facebook as just straight up videos do, long form or short form videos. And so that's why I kind of took Facebook out of the live stream mix. Very few people were engaging in the live streams from Facebook. So I'm like 90% from YouTube. And then the other 10% was probably from, or 9% was from X, and less than 1% really was coming from Facebook. So that's the other reason why I decided to make this change, and hopefully it helps you all out too in finding the channel and interacting with the channel as well. So glad to see some of you already chiming in. I know there was no notice for this at all, but this will be going up on Sunday. So Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I have no idea what time that is for Australia, but it's roughly an hour and 45 minutes earlier than now. So whatever time that is for you, I forget how many hours ahead you guys are. I know it's tomorrow morning for you already, so I'm assuming you're at least 12 hours ahead, if not a little bit more. But yeah, if this is the morning time for you, then again, good morning, and I hope that you can catch those live streams on that would be your Monday morning. When they do go live at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and whether you can follow on YouTube or Rumble or X, they're all equally appreciated. And yeah, so my upcoming discussion on this Sunday, because I'm talking about upcoming products, events, and trends in the tabletop role-playing hobby. I will be talking about some Kickstarters that are about to launch that I have been following. I'm certainly going to back. That's a Kickstarter being promoted, being produced by Agile Monk. So any of you that are on my channel, you know who Agile Monk is. Anybody on like the 50 channels that I follow as well, you know who Agile Monk is. And so so he has and his team have a Kickstarter that is going to launch around mid-May. So really in the next couple of weeks, I certainly want to bring him on. I'm going to be doing a live stream potentially next Friday with Robert Connolly. I've been covering his game now for the last week and a half or so. He is the creator of the Majestic Fantasy RPG. Really incredible book, or set of books, I should say, and products. And so he wants to come on and talk about the fact that you can now buy it. It's no longer just in, it's Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter had been put out there, but now you can also get it directly from drive-through, both in print. And I know he just announced that you can get it in premium hardcover, premium color now on drive-through as well. So going to bring him on so he can talk about that there as well. So looking forward to that. Like I said, the trends that I'm talking about in the OSR are going to be the trends of new products or just new directions, certain game systems that are suddenly getting on everyone's radar, and they're starting to play them online or at conventions and whatnot. Some organized play. I'm seeing more and more organized play for Shadow Dark and Castles and Crusades. So again, that's something else that I will be promoting going forward. Really waiting for Shadow Dark's West Marches expansion that was kickstarted almost a little over a year ago now. And so waiting for those books to come out and in hand, and I'm going to go hog wild with those. There's an OSC Kickstarter coming up very soon. That's yet another event that I will be talking about, and looking forward to talking about that as well. And yes, Stephen brings up astonishing swordsmen and sorcerers of Hyperborea, and I know that Jeffrey Tilanian has been working on a Kickstarter for his Comorium city, uh, a a guide for the city, a full-blown supplemental for Hyperborea third edition. Certainly, absolutely something I'm backing, and something I want to get my hands on. Really anxious about that. I'll be bringing on Robert Block, because Robert Block is, the Greyhawk Grognard, and he is always churning out new products and everything. So would love to have him come on the show as well. For these Sunday evening live streams, or for interviews. I'll be live streaming interviews, and again, they will be going to YouTube, X, and now Rumble. So Rumble is going to be a place where you can follow my channel. If you haven't gone to Rumble yet, I will put up the stream, or the I'll put up the address here now. So this is the Rumble address, and you can go over there and follow the channel there. The channel has a slightly different name over there because the focus is going to be different. So the name over there is the OSR Tabletop live stream at Bloodworth. That's the place where you'll go on Rumble to follow me over there. But here on YouTube, it is still Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review, and this is going to be the background that you see for all of my live streams moving forward. So the live streams are going to be the OSR Tabletop live stream with myself, GM Bloodworth, and the bottom tag is always going to be upcoming products, events, and trends in the TTRPG hobby. These will be coming out weekly. The only time that they won't happen on the Sunday is if the Sunday is some kind of a holiday or family event, such as Mother's Day is coming up. So obviously I will not be live streaming on Mother's Day, and no one else should be either for Mother's Day. So that should be a day that is left to your moms, and just enjoy your mother for those days. You don't need to see my ugly face talking about OSR, the OSR hobby on Mother's Day. I know my wife would kill me if I was doing that. And so moving forward, I am going to see if I missed anybody. Hey, how's it going, OJ Flynn? Good to see you. Thank you for popping in. I know there was a zero announcement for this. I was just trying to get everything squared away on my Rumble account, and how do I just directly stream to Rumble from this? And that's when I kind of made the decision, let me put this whole thing together. Let me jump out there and get a little bit of ahead of Sunday night's live stream that will be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, if you're inclined to do so, please head over to that link that you see there in the chat. Go over and follow me over on Rumble. If you are on Rumble watching this right now, come on over to the YouTube side, and the YouTube link is a little bit higher up here, and you can follow me over on YouTube as well. And let's just build up both as much as I can, and that way I'll be able to serve both sides of the streaming and video blogging side of the hobby. So good to see you all, and let's see, that'll be 9 a.m. Monday for me. I'm in at +10. Yeah, so you're +10 hours. So that's what I figured. I figured you're I know you're in the next morning. Hey, Overkill, how's it going? Good to see you. This is just a really quick announcement live stream, but if anybody has any topics you want to talk about, I'm certainly open to chatting about the topics. if anyone wants to, if anyone is coming over, I haven't seen anybody coming over yet from Rumble, but I only have like 5 subscribers over at Rumble. Oh, now it's 6, so somebody has joined. So thank you very much for doing so. And yeah, if you can head on over there and just start, filling that up, I believe it unlocks, various things, same way as YouTube does, right? So I believe you need to have like, it was either 500 subscribers and 1,000 hours, or maybe it was like 1,000 subscribers and 4,000. I really didn't look too much into it. It is not going to be a replacement for YouTube. That's one thing I want to put out there. I have no problem with still putting out my videos on YouTube. Rumble is only going to be the place where I simulcast my live streams. I found that Facebook was not really doing anything on the live stream side. It was like, oh, the last several streams with 500 people watching on the various servers, I believe like 7 LinkedIn from Facebook, and the rest were coming from, like 90% were coming from YouTube, and then the remainder was coming from X. So I put Facebook on the sideline, and brought in Rumble. Does anyone do THACO by adding Monsters AC to the number you roll? I believe that is the way that Dragon Slayer RPG does it, right? It's like you're rolling a d20, you're adding their armor class, and or you add the armor class, and then that's the roll that you have to beat. So it's 20 plus that, or something along those lines, or it's 10 plus their armor class, something weird like that. I don't really mess around too much with this anymore. I have progressively become a huge fan of ascending armor class. I think that it is just a more modern, and when I say modern, I mean it still goes back to like the early 90s. So if you want to consider that a modern advancement, but yeah, I'm a big fan of ascending armor class. I just think that it's something that has replaced, descending armor class, and I don't see any reason not to. Got a sub on. Well, thank you very much, and thanks a lot for doing that. And great, I can see you're coming in from Rumble, so welcome. You can look forward to seeing all of my live streams coming to Rumble, YouTube, and Twitter or X, whichever one you want. So you just add AC, and it goes over 19, you hit. Yes, I believe that's the way it works. Combat Matrix is the way. I am going to respectfully disagree. I don't, I just don't see the reason behind it anymore. I'd love to get into a chat about it, and have somebody try to sell me on the benefits of having to cross-reference on a combat matrix rather than just knowing which armor class you hit when you rolled one die without having to look at anything. You basically know your target number and your roll. That's, to me, that's just so much more streamlined. It really does speed up. As a game master, it really does speed it up. I mean, yeah, if I'm running AD&D, I'm going to use the combat matrix. I'm going to use, if I'm running an old school game, as far as whether it's D&D Basic or BECME or AD&D First Edition, I'm going to use it. All right, I'm going to use it because I think that that's part of the nostalgia of it. It's part of what makes AD&D First Edition unique. AD&D First Edition was my introduction to the hobby. I used to think it was Holmes Edition, to be honest with you. But I recently spoke to my dungeon master from 1978. We were all best friends when we started in 1978, and he was like, no, he said it was AD&D First Edition. We started with the monster manual and the player's handbook, so that would have been 78. Before before the DMG came out, which came out the following year, I believe, 79, or possibly, yeah, I think it was 79 that came out. Which is better weapons, a D6 or D8 or a D10? Depends on the weapon. I'm not crazy about a system where the weapons are all D6. I know there's some out there that do that. But I mean, if I had to choose between the three, I think the most balanced is a D8. But the D8 tend to be, and I'm going to conflate different game systems in my head. So the D8 tends to be blunt weapons. I think that there's very few bladed weapons that are a base D8. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there are very few that are a base D8. I remember in AD&D First Edition, the two-handed, the bastard sword was what, 2d8 for that. Again, I could be conflating it off the top of my head, but with a different system. I just have many players make their rolls and tell me what AC they hit in AD&D. Yeah, I mean, if they have the combat chart in front of them too. But even with AD&D, you can just convert it. Just convert it over, and you take the armor class of the creature, you subtract it from 20, and that's your target number to hit. It's that simple. So if they're an AC 2, you need an 18 to hit them. If they're an AC 5, you need a 15 to hit them. It's pretty simple. You don't have to look at the matrix to do that. I know in AD&D, you have different classes have a different chart. Castles and Crusades eliminates that by just giving them additional pluses based on character class at different levels. So you just mark down what their basic to hit is based on their class and level, and then you just apply that to your roll as well. I've seen other systems where it's like every hit die you have, you add a +1 to hit, regardless of class, and that's how they do it. Others, I see a lot more advantages going to fighters. The Majestic Fantasy RPG, when I was reading through how many bonuses the fighting man gets, and that I was like, oh my gosh, they add their level bonus, they add their strength bonus, they add their like a proficiency bonus to their particular weapon as well. They're juggernauts in that game system. Let's see. A D8 damage was usually rolled against large monsters in AD&D at least. None of the base blade weapons were D8. I didn't think any of them were. Normal and small size targets. And some were like, it was like a D10 or a D12, depending on the size of the creature you were attacking as well. D8s, I'm pretty sure, was like maces and those kinds of weapons, mostly blunt weapons. Perhaps a maul was a D8 as well, with a very large hammer. Hey, how's it going, Sword and Stone? So yeah, this was just an impromptu live stream. Basically advertising two things. I'm advertising the new live stream model that I'm going to be using. The new live stream name I'm going to be using is the OSR Tabletop Live Stream with myself, GM Bloodworth. I am going to be talking about upcoming products, events, and trends in the tabletop role-playing hobby with a focus on the OSR. Occasionally, I will be bringing in some indie games that I think match very well with our play styles and such. Like Savage Worlds is not really an OSR game, but it's an absolutely phenomenal system. I absolutely love it, and I will talk about that on my channel. I'll talk about that in my live streams as well. But there are other game systems out there that I will look at whether they're considered OSR or not. Um, but and then the other purpose of this was to announce that I'm also going to be streaming over my live streams. Will also be going to Rumble now. I found that I was getting very little interaction from people directly from Facebook, so onto Facebook. I see had a momentary glitch right there. So I'm still here. Hopefully you're still all there too. And yeah, well, Hyperborea is an OSR game in a sense. Like I know some people like DM James will say that Hyperborea is the best version of AD&D First Edition, and and you can make that argument. I certainly can see that Hyperborea is really I think it's more so the grittiness of it and just the um, is just the feel that you get from Hyperborea as well is very reminiscent of the way I felt running AD&D First Edition or playing AD&D First Edition. So how would you play psionics, or should you play psionics? I never did. I never liked psionics. I have always admitted that. And Yeah, I was never a big fan of psionics. As a player, I had a fear of creatures of psionics because there seemed like a lot of them came out of the Fiend Folio. That's where you had your Githyanki and others and the Slod and all different types of creatures. And I was like, wow, psionics were just like, to me, psionics was just overpowered. And yeah, I was not a big fan of it. I mean, I still got the AD&D Second Edition Psionics Guide, even though I would never actually use it. But yeah, I was not ever a fan of psionics. You know, I think it doesn't fit the high fantasy genre, in my opinion, for psionics to be in Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, he's not wrong, in my opinion. No, he's not wrong about Hyperborea Third Edition. Two things: being incredibly great, a great system, and um, maybe arguably the best AD&D. Um, I don't know. I would certainly put it in the top three, and I would look at it as Castles and Crusades. I think is a great version of AD&D. I think Adventures Dark and Deep is a great form of AD&D First Edition, and Hyperborea would be on there too. So I would say any of those three, you're right in there with them. Bards too. No, so yeah, I allowed one of my players to play a bard, and what I found with the bard in AD&D First Edition was number one, I've never seen it as a character class. It's a fine expert NPC, expert henchman. I never understood the role as it was depicted in AD&D First Edition either. I've always liked the version of which came out much, much later, obviously. In the movie Unforgiven, the guy that plays the news reporter that's going to just follow around um, money and record his, his gunfighting or whatever. That to me is a bard, you know, just an expert henchman that's going to go around and record the actions of the player characters. Maybe he can, sing a tune or sing their praises to boost their morale or whatever. But for the most part, a a fighter thief to become a bard, and it just never made sense to me. It's not a well developed character class. Um, so yeah, I would not allow bards. Now, Castles and Crusades does the best version of a bard that I've seen, but but still, again, it's not a great class. Yeah, that's just how I run my tabletop. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I run my table too. I would never run it unless it's Dark Sun, since it's such a part of the setting. Oh, you mean psionics? Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. If I were WotC, I would be selling AD&D books and just say, sorry, not censored for the modern audience. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that would be a perfect thing for them to say, and they will never say it, because as much as they might be pretending that they're apologizing, or they've made an apology to the Gygax family and Luke Gygax in particular, um, the point is that they still have that disclaimer on their books, and I won't buy anything that is 5e related. I won't buy it if it's labeled for 5e use. I won't buy it if it's from Wizards of the Coast. I'm 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 open to buying things from the DM's Guild, from just a very select few people, and I still won't buy it from DM's Guild. Like I got this from Joseph Block. I didn't buy this off of the DM's Guild. I bought this directly from him. So that's how I would buy something from it. I'm not going to have any of my money go directly to, even in a portion of it going to Wizards of the Coast. I will go to a convention that Joseph Block is at and buy some of the other Greyhawk materials that he has there, and that's how I will make a purchase. If I desperately want something that is from the Wizards of the Coast, and to be honest with you, I don't know anything that's out there that I really do want, I would buy it from the third party. I would still make sure that my money doesn't go to them until perhaps they remove the disclaimer, and then I might consider it. But it would have to be something that is just hit out of the ballpark, and I don't think they have that in them either. So that's not where that's not where I would lean to buying anything from them. I'll get off my soapbox on that now and move on. But those are the kinds of things that I will bring up on my live streams. Like events and trends and such. If I see something that is big news, like them talking to Luke Gygax and them potentially coming out with a product that Luke Gygax wrote for Greyhawk. But if it's going to be something that is very 5e centric, like that you need 5e, I don't have anything that's 5e anymore. I'm not gonna go out and buy it just to do that. No, I'll just stick to things like this. I'll never give WotC or I guess it's Games Workshop 1 red cent ever again. That's just me though. Yeah, and you know what? I do not hold anyone in a bad light for buying the game products that they want to use at their table. It's your table. You're free to do whatever you want. I don't hold the people that are going to publish under, under the machinations of Wizards of the Coast, whether it be on the DM's Guild or directly through them on their third party on what is that, D&D Beyond. Now I don't hold it against them. I just won't buy this stuff from those from those providers. But I don't hold it against them. You're going to go where you can make the most money. I get it. I fully support that. But I'm not going to buy from a company that doesn't want me buying from them. And that's how I look at Wizards of the Coast. They literally said, people that look like me can't get out of the hobby fast enough. And I don't care that they fired that guy that said it. They never denounced what he said. All right. So there are some still there that still hold on to that. And so they can hold on to that all they like. They'll never hold on to a penny from me. So I get it. I certainly get it from, I will never give WotC or I don't have anything from Games Workshop. I don't have anything that is Warhammer, Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40K. I have nothing from them whatsoever. And never really had. I remember picking up probably like Warhammer, maybe the first edition back in the mid 80s. And I mean, the book looked beautiful. The graphics, the art was incredible and everything. It was a miniatures game. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not really into miniatures. I couldn't afford miniatures when I was a kid. So, I just never got into those heavy miniature games. And so, yeah. So never touched Game Workshop. Yes, Jason Tondro is still there, and that's why I won't touch it. Just like Ben Riggs is still, still there, or still kind of associated with them. Won't read any of his stuff. Gonna purge the shit from my, from my library. I have a bunch of things that I'm going to donate at the next convention that I go to, most likely ShireCon. I'm going to donate a lot of my stuff at ShireCon because all of ShireCon's donations go to the VFW that ShireCon is held in. And so once I learned that last year, I was like, you know what? Instead of me selling these things on eBay, which, I mean, some of them I might, but, like the ones that I'm pretty sure they don't want to sell at ShireCon. But I'm going to donate the stuff there because I'd like to give back to the VFW, myself being a veteran as well. My father being a veteran, I will certainly rather take those books and just pass them on. I'm not going to throw books out. I don't believe in doing that. Even my 5e stuff, I gave it to my niece. I was like, here you go. And I also gave her a copy of, because I had an extra copy of Lamentations of a Flame Princess, which she absolutely loves. And I was like, play that instead of 5e. You'll go. And I gave her my Shadow Dark, the special edition, signed by Kelsey Dion, and gave her that. I was like, play this game instead. Get away from 5e. You'll have a better experience. You'll have a better game to play. Yeah, the first and second edition were pretty sick. Yeah, like I said, they looked great, but I think they were very miniatures dependent. Let me get to some of your other things. Hey, how's it going, Amanda Moston? Amanda Moston? I'm sure I'm butchering that. I apologize. So all the new stuff from WotC is too much video game and too little TTRPG, and I agree. They want to represent a class of players that is very small and drive away players that have supported them for decades. Yeah, absolutely. We've been supporting Dungeons and Dragons for decades. We brought it through the Satanic Panic, we brought it through the collapse of TSR. We brought it through D&D Fourth Edition, and unfortunately, we're tired of carrying it. We're tired of carrying it post 2023. Nah, most of us have moved on to better game systems. That's the bottom line. You know, we didn't just move on to better companies, we moved on to better game systems. And I think that's something that they just don't understand or recognize or want to admit. Really looking forward to We Love the TTRPG's second part of the takedown. Oh, that was a headshot. I asked um, Diversity and Dragons, but I think it was before his stream. I was like, oh, please just put in the boom headshot from it's a video meme if you're not familiar with it. And I was like, oh yeah, put that up there because that was absolutely a headshot. He destroyed Ben Riggs. Anybody that watches that video from Atten and doesn't come away from that thinking that Ben Riggs should be just run out, tarred and feathered from our hobby. I'd love to see him gone from the hobby. If I had his book, I would probably throw that book out. But anyway, yeah, he destroyed him in that video. And I spread that video around. I was like, this is a must see. So yeah, Warhammer Fantasy RPG is different from Warhammer. Yeah, I know it's different. The miniatures war game is just an RPG, no miniatures required. Okay. Iman is fine. Yep. Well, welcome. I'm sure I've seen your name before, but yes, welcome. Thank you very much. Well, it's not some name backwards. Yeah. I didn't even think to do that. Not some name. Okay, I got it. Very good. I'm slow on uptaking on those things too. D&D is more satanic than it ever was in the 70s and 80s. Well, the players might be. Yes, the counterculture around it might be more of that, but that's just Hollywood in general. Hollywood in general has been taken off, and I'm not a religious person either. So, and even I can see it's just warped, very twisted, socially twisted. But anyway, that's that's not where the OSR is, and I think for the better that the OSR is pretty much even keeled with that. I mean, there's some things that are a little bit on the edge, like Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Does it cross over into rated R? Yes, I'm sure it does in some cases, but there are not very many that do that. And there's also not very many OSR that are on the other end of the spectrum. There's very little OSR that is rated G. Nothing wrong with that if you were going to put that up, just like there's nothing wrong with putting out something that is, clearly rated R. But the most part, I think the OSR falls within a PG-13. And I think that's a great place for it to be. And it's also the majority of the OSR is, either apolitical or just slightly right of center. Not very extreme. Of course, a few small examples of it on that end. But for the most part, we're about gaming. We're, sit at my table. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what your religion is or what your preferences are. Are you at my table to play the game? That is all I care about. As soon as you try to interject any of that stuff, then it's like, all right, this is not the table for you. We're here to play a game. We're here to have fun. We're here to, and for those that say, oh, you're supposed to, you know, D&D is supposed to be a human growth engine, and you're supposed to become a better person. All right. I'm not here to become, I'm 59 years old. All right. No one's making me a better person if I haven't already done it on my own. When I got married 26 years ago, my wife did not change me either. All right, if anybody was going to be able to change me, it would have been her, and she didn't manage to do that. You think I'm going to change playing a game with a bunch of people that that I've only known for a couple of years? No. Am I going to um, try to be pleasant with anybody sitting at my table? Of course I am. But don't come to my table making demands or thinking that I'm going to change the way I run my table because you want to come and sit down and alter what everybody else is doing at the table. Not going to happen. So everyone's welcome as long as they're there to play the game as it is presented, and that's it. um, we all got older. Do PG and R is just fine. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that Watsy. Hey, Raphael, how's it going? I feel that Watsy, yeah, Rotsy. I Freudian slip, right? I feel that Watsy is realizing the fad is blowing over. The tourists are about to depart, and the industry is gonna shrink back down to the hobby. 5.5 is a giant dud. Yes, absolutely. I think that they realized that 5.5 was um, I can see them coming out with a sixth edition. I know it was rumored that they were going to bring in Ed Greenwood, Tracy Hickman, and perhaps Luke Gygax to churn out a sixth edition, and that sixth edition might come out as early um, as early as 2028. Which would make the 2024 last only about 4 years. They've done it before, right? They came out with 3.5 within 2 years of 3.0, or maybe 3 years. It certainly is possible. Um, but what I think they have to do is they need to dramatically trim down that game system. You have too many character classes, too many subclasses, too many feats, too many this and that and the other thing. They should shrink the whole thing down to just the same core classes. They should come out with AD&D third edition, all right, and go along those lines with it. Basically, take AD&D, put ascending armor class, and trim out all the other stuff that has come ever since then, and go with that. I've joined a few more games on Discord. It turned out to be very dedicated gamers. Little other talk during game time. Yes. Yeah. Hey, how's it going, poor Orc Child? Always good to see you. And let's see. The fad was never a fad. It was just them listening to a bunch of loud people. They just like people bending knees. Yeah. Yeah. They listen to the Twitter crowd, that were not gamers. They were just hangers on. They listened to the cosplayers and the posers and the hobby tourists, and not to their actual gaming base. When I say fad, I mean the huge boost they got from Stranger Things and Critical Role and COVID. They got a huge boost from COVID. If it wasn't for COVID, I think 5e would have died within its first 6 or 7 years. It would have just shrunk down. There would have been, they would have been finished. COVID saved their asses. I find like-minded players for your table. Then play however you want. Nothing in the game system can regulate that. Yeah, it's true. That's the other thing that came out of Wizards of the Coast was that push to shift the gaming dynamic from um, being more player focused than game master focused, and just a lack of acknowledgement of the fact that the game master, the dungeon master, is the limited commodity, that there's always been 4 to 5 players for every one DM, and that's just the nature of the game, of the hobby. And so when you make it so um, so loaded towards player agency, let's say, and it's not just player agency as to, I want to control my character the way that I'm controlling my character, but it was player agency of, no, I want to, as the player, control what's going on at the table. All right. It strips the game master of all of his or her um, guidance as to what's going on at their own table. And I think that that was the most egregious thing that they kind of set the groundwork for. That was the major shift. That was by far uh, worse than anything that the Satanic Panic was looking to do, because they really did destroy the dynamic of game master and player, um, relationship between them. I'm not talking about game masters being, previously being adversarial. Uh, I'm as old school as most anybody, right? I started in '78, so I missed out 4 years of actual gameplay, but we never had adversarial. I never had an adversarial game master, and I've never been an adversarial game master. The most adversarial my game masters had ever been was they were like, "There's no resurrection to my game," because no god would give mere mortals the power over life and death. So your character died, your character was shit out of luck. Start rolling up a new one. That was pretty much as adversarial as they actually ever got. Yeah, 6E, it was 5.5. 6E, I think 6E needs to come out if they're going to do anything. We have third edition AD&D CNC. Yeah. But again, they should, if they want to, save their printing, then they need to do that. They need to put out an AD&D third edition. Excuse me, I got an itch. Hey, RP Grandpa, good to see you. I was catching your video earlier on today. Actually, your stream. I was catching your live stream earlier on today. And the activists claiming how oppressed various groups were supposedly. Yeah, well, they turned orcs into Mexicans, and that's okay, I guess. So that was always that was the funniest thing that came out of that whole year was I was like, yeah, really, that's where you went with it. You're right about just making AD&D third edition rules light. Games allow freedom, rules stifle play. Yes. Rules and options is something that tends to happen to all editions. Over time, they keep adding more and more stuff. They need to keep selling books. 3.5 probably suffered the most from this. Yeah, because 3.5 came out with like a slew of splat books. I mean, second edition had a ton of splat books too. They really started losing it once they, it started with AD&D second edition with that whole idea of, we just have to churn out books to keep it going, keep it rolling. Probably because they realized that, and I know I just recently saw a video where they were talking about the, I think it was on Bill Sylvie's channel where he was talking about, it was a short. We're talking about the quality of the AD&D first edition books were so good that they were going to last for decades, and they do last for decades. And you can't build a business model around a product that is more durable than a Maytag, a Maytag dryer. I mean, it's like a thing's going to last for decades. How are we making money off of that? But anyway, rules, options, bloat is what I meant. Yeah, you could once you start adding too many rules, or have a multi-layered action economy that takes what should be a simple 10 to 15 minute battle and turns it into a 3-hour affair, is just a terrible game system. It's terrible game design. AD&D third edition, that is what I want them to do, but it would just be demons and devils back and some OD&D with sloppy floors, ropes, poles, and stuff like the playable monsters. Yeah. Orcs now say we are not merry men. So hobgoblins were Japanese and BX, or Mongols, right? I think they were Mongol warriors more so than anything. So let's see. 2E splat books at least were the most RP based. And that's true. That is true. You didn't need them all. The complete series were fine. They did all have some useful little gems inside them as well. But I would have never bought those as a, late teen, early 20s person. I would never have spent that kind of money on it. I've since bought those things, but that's that's 40 years later, and and with an adult salary and stuff. So would have never done that back then. So I will. So just a quick reminder to anyone who hasn't done so. So this is simultaneously streaming on Rumble and X. So that is a change if you're coming in kind of late. This is a launch stream for my new format and new target audiences for my live streams for Sunday evenings. So I am now going to simultaneously stream to YouTube, X, and Rumble. So Rumble has been added in. So if you're inclined, please head on over to Rumble. I will put the link up, and you can head on over there and join the channel. I already see that so far 2 people have, and I really appreciate that. Rumble is not going to be replacing YouTube or X. Rumble is really replacing Facebook for live streams, because I was getting very few people were coming over from Facebook to watch live streams. And so I'm just trying to build up Rumble a little bit, because there are some people over on Rumble who don't follow on YouTube. And so, Rumble does have the reputation of being far more free speech oriented on Rumble. And so there's that crowd over there, which certainly do fall into what I would consider the OSR mentality too. I think that we're much more libertarian, or just right of center than YouTube sometimes allows. But again, I am not replacing YouTube with Rumble, just kind of simulcasting live streams only. Hey, welcome for Psychosis. Good to see you there. And you are coming over from Rumble. Let me bring up this here and make sure I'm not. The only thing I have to do is tone that down. And I can say, hello. Let's do hello, all. And I can do my YouTube over there. And let's cross pollinate. All right. If you don't already, okay. Yeah, so I will bounce back and forth between the two. So yes, welcome, Forced Psychosis. Good to see you. Spread the word. Come over to the YouTube side as well and follow along over here. I am going to again. Rumble is going to be the site where I'm bringing most of my live streams, as well as still YouTube. Live streams will go there as well, but I want the crossover in both directions. So if you're following me here, go over there, follow there. If you're coming from Rumble, I will still be commenting across both platforms. But you're welcome to come over here and subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. And you're all welcome to go over to X and follow me over on X as well. So that you can always pick up from the other channels. I linked those two locations on my Rumble side, so you can find me on X through the Rumble site as well. So let's see. I disagree with that, but who cares? I'm not sure. Let me see what Raphael said. So let's see. The only things introduced in 2E Splat that were indeed on balance were the Elven Blade Singer and the Dwarven Battle Rager. The rest were all pretty tame. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with it enough. I mean, I have them, but I never actually delved into it very much. Let's see. There were a couple panels from PaizoCon in 2012 and 13 called The Secrets of TSR, with a bunch of TSR alumni. The stuff they said about Lorraine's business decisions would, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that they were, and there's only one person that I know of on YouTube that is a white knight for Lorraine Williams. Would raise the hair on the back of your head. Yeah. Yeah, that was the rest of it. Yes. Let's see. I like to look up the AD&D 2.5 revised black books. Yeah, those are the ones that I have. Yeah, so I have the revised editions of them. I got them for fairly cheap. That's the only good thing about second edition, at least at the time. I got them all for like $30 or under. Same thing with the Splat books. I got all of the player enhancing Splat books, all of the class guides and those types of things. And as much as I don't like a psionics, I still grab the psionics guide as well. The Black Claw books were just editing revisions. The DMs and the player options books were the egregious ones. Yeah. So, well, that's why I never, I've played second edition more so at conventions and such, and I've only run for Gold and Glory, which is the only OSR second edition retro clone that's out there that I know of. So, and that's a pretty good system. That's a pretty solid system. Like when they sold out 1,000 sets of Dragon Dice in Gen Con, and Lorraine decided to order 1 million sets from their Chinese dice printer. Not dice, sets. I just have the OSR for Golden Glory as my AD&D second book. Yeah, no, it's a great, it's a really, really good version of it. And I like game systems that have one book, and you can pretty much get away with just one book. Although there are other supplements for Golden Glory as well, and they come from two different publishers. But you can find all of that stuff on Drive-Thru. That's where I picked them all up as well. But yeah, that's a good way to introduce people to second edition without overwhelming them. Let's put it that way. And so let's see. And who else do I have over there? So from Rumble, I have Joe Libby and Forced Psychosis. So welcome from Rumble, gentlemen. Good to see you. And yeah, hopefully more of you head on over there as well. And I'm up to 8 followers now over there. So yeah, if you're on the YouTube side, please go on over there and just follow along. If you were on the Rumble side, come on over here and follow along as well. And we'll see. I'll keep on building this up. So my live streams are going to be going to both YouTube and Rumble as well as X. I can't tell if anyone is following directly through X, like when they chat in here. I don't think it comes up that way and showing that they're from X and responding onto a live stream the same way that I see who is from YouTube and who is from Rumble. Yes, that's from Justin Brown, and then the other ones are from a different person. I used to talk to him all the time. Let me grab it, and we will chat. So, since we are talking about it, so this is for Golden Glory. Justin Brown, as mentioned, it is a single volume retro clone of second edition, and this is created by Justin Brown, and then edited by Moses Wildermuth was the other person that did quite a bit with this as well, even after Justin had moved on. Chris Knowles, Dan Hyland, and then some others as well. But mostly, I would say it was the 3 people: Justin Brown, Moses Wildermuth, and Chris Knowles. I had a lot to do with this here. Then later on, there were these supplements that I picked up. So there was the Adventurer's Guide to Lost Arcana, and this is by Scott Morgan and C.S. Barnhart. C.S. Barnhart came out with a lot of stuff too, and I think this was a different publisher. So this was published by Mad Martian Games, which was the other. And then I have The Herbalists in Alchemy, and this is by Moses Wildermuth, Dan Hyland, Chris Knowles, Josh Graboff, and this was put out This was printed or put out by, I think, another publisher. Let's see who put this one out. I think this is just directly from Moses Wildermuth. So Moses Wildermuth put this one out. Then the C.S. Barnhart, Chris Lights, and James M. Ward put in the campaign setting. All right, so this campaign setting is the Ice Kingdoms. I think James Ward just did the forward of it, but still, James Ward. And this is a setting book for Golden Glory, and then the art for the Ice Kingdoms as well. So that's everything I have for the only retro clone of second edition. So highly recommend you get those things. They are awesome representations of AD&D second edition in OSR form. I'm not sure how Golden Glory. It looks to be the Player's Handbook and the Unearthed Arcana combined, if that's correct. Yeah, but it's simplified too. It is a little bit. I've never sat down and done side by side the comparison, but I mean, it's a monster manual as well. So it has everything you would need for. It's all three books combined. So size-wise, it's not as long as you would think. 372 pages, and page 372 is the character sheet. So it's not as thick as you would think, page count wise. So it's definitely a trimmed down version. I guarantee you, if you took the AD&D second edition Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, and DMG, you would end up with probably pushing someplace near 900 pages, or 800 pages or so. But anyway, I must have been under a different channel name, but they were doing Gold and Glory stuff. It must have been under, yeah. There was a different, well, I think Moses had a channel for a while, but that's an easy thing to look for. So I can go into YouTube and see, if I just do a search for gold and glory and RPG, and see whose channels comes up. So let's see, there is, Glenn Hallstrom had reviewed some of it. I certainly did reviews back 5 years ago for it. I did one a month ago. Stone Axe Tabletop Gaming did a For Golden Glory solo role-playing action with it. World of Sea Battle. I don't know why that's connected to it. I did another one 4 years ago. I don't see. Samwise 7 RPG did one on there. Golden Glory was a channel, and it was just called Golden Glory, and it was a channel. Wow, 7.48 7,000 subscribers. So quite a number of subscribers. When was the last thing they did? What was the last video they did? The latest was 4 months ago. Okay. So there's, now it looks like a video game though. That's Golden Glory is a video game. So yeah, not For Golden Glory, Golden Glory. So yeah, there's a few that did stuff a couple years ago. I don't think anyone is still active with it. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And yeah, my pleasure to show off things. On the channel. That's what this channel is for, is to introduce you to the obscure things that are out there. Let's see what else do we have here. What is the most important book for AD&D 1 edition and second edition after the core books? Wow, that's a tough one. Um I think I mean, just the monster manual and the Fiend Folio are really, really important too. Um, I mean, I like Unearthed Arcana. I think that there are, yeah, I mean, there's some character classes that don't work well, but Unearthed Arcana was taking kind of like the best of Dragon magazines, uh, and putting them out into a book form. I mean, I love all 11 books. I mean, each one gives something different. The Oriental Adventures gives you the best version of a monk. Um, I mean, the Wilderness Survival Guide and the Dungeoneer Survival Guide are, give you just like your non-weapon proficiencies and your secondary skills that are still related to adventuring. So I think those are tremendously important. Um, the Greyhawk guide was useful, but not as useful as the gold box, the World of Greyhawk gold box. So you wouldn't have just gone with the hardcover of that. But still, I mean, I think all 11 are so important to have all 11 hardcovers. Um, we wouldn't have run AD&D as long as we did, and the way that we did with our Dragon magazine. I mean, we used those Dragon magazines extensively, and a lot of the stuff that was in the Dragon magazines made their way into um, Unearthed Arcana and some of the latter books as well. I just tried, couldn't see it. The one I'm sub to, yeah, I couldn't find any that were like recently active. Um, for second edition, I'd say the campaign setting box set, um, many to choose from. The campaign, when you're talking about what, like Forgotten Realms, the box set for Forgotten Realms, perhaps. I was never a big Forgotten Realms fan either. I think it was too cluttered, too structured. I've always been a big fan of Greyhawk, the way it's kind of laid out, and Greyhawk is the next big campaign that I'm going to be running, is a Greyhawk campaign uh, using both castles and crusades and a lot of adventures dark and deep, and the other works from Joseph Block as well. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, the Forgotten Realms one. I mean, the art was incredible for that, and I'm sure the maps and all of that stuff. I just wasn't a big fan of Forgotten Realms. Sorry to Ed Greenwood for that, but I just not a huge fan of it. I've just always been a Greyhawk person. So let's see. Um, I will I will see how we are growing there. We're up to 9 followers over on Rumble, and hello to you all following over on Rumble. I'll give them a quick shout out. So it comes over here too. So just in case anybody is over there and not over here, but I think most are going to. I like, but Greyhawk was much better in my opinion. Yeah, Greyhawk leaves you enough room to breathe, and so it allows you to find gaps in the timeline where you can run a whole campaign and not have to worry about stepping on anything. Um, or you can just pick it up where the timeline left and go forward from there, and you just have, in your player characters, like, memories of these other events, or you can bring some of them back or whatnot. um you know that's uh that's something that I thought, like, I've always leaned on, was the fact that you have that flexibility with Greyhawk. I just never got the sense, like, most of my experience with Forgotten Realms is through video games and that kind of stuff, and just from watching people talking about it, um, and how much it just feels like you're pigeonholed, and it feels like there's just too much emphasis on the same places all the time. So you're in Waterdeep, or Neverwinter, or just the same locations all the time. It's like, geez, get out of the Sword Coast, please. Go someplace else in the realm and talk about that. Um, yeah, Greyhawk is the way. Yes, it is. Um, I have no experience with Birthright. I know so many people absolutely love it. Um, I would take a look at it if I had a chance. Like, when I go to conventions, if I ever saw it, like, on one of their raffles, or their whatever, I would probably put a bid down on it and try to get it, or auctioned, or whatnot. Um, it's way expensive on eBay. I use doesn't give you room to breathe. Yeah. So, and I've adopted how to pronounce his name from the Greyhawk Ragnar. And from Aten, from We Love RPGs, his pronunciation of Sojkant, I also really like that too. I wish they would make a Ravenloft game like Baldur's Gate 3. I always like Ravenloft was a great module that we ran, back when it first came out. Absolutely loved it. Um, our main characters actually survived it, and um, we destroyed Strahd. So we actually kind of beat the adventure. Um, Only lost a couple of levels from whites, from that adventure, and it was. I don't see how they turned that into a setting. To be honest with you, it was a great standalone adventure. I never did the second one. I know that there was a follow up. I think during second edition there was a follow up. That was the Underdark setting. Yeah. They call it something. Don't they call it something different? Maybe it is the Underdark. I thought, yeah. No, they call it something different. It's not just the Underdark setting. Someone else is going to say it. I don't think it's Underdark. It is called. It's the Demiplane of Dread. Yeah, Demiplane of Dread. Domains of Dread, Demiplane. See, we're all learning something here on this channel. So that's always good to do as well. No, it wasn't. It was a module. It was first a module. I something was the first one. It was just called Ravenloft when I first saw it as a kid. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a when you first saw it, you thought it was a game by itself. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a good one. I mean, incredible, incredible adventure. Very well done and good. Domains of Dread is the Ravenloft hardcover at the end of the TSR run. Okay. And they're supposedly doing something with the i6. Yeah, I was going to say that too. I was going to say i6 or i5, or I know it was in the i series though. Yeah, they're going to probably revisit that, although they're revisiting it at the wrong time of the year. They should be looking at it in October. They're doing seasons now. So their season of, season of the dark or whatever the heck it's called, should have been, their season 2, second quarter. So it would coincide with Halloween. The Ruins of the Undermountain 2, The Deep Levels. Yeah, like I said, I'm not that familiar with the stuff that came out during second and third and even fourth edition. I was a video gamer then, and then an MMO gamer, and then I only came back to the tabletop role-playing hobby in 2015. So it's only been 11 years that I have made my return to tabletop role-playing. All the rest of the time, I was heavily, heavily into MMOs, both alpha testing games and beta testing games, and forum moderator for some game companies as well. Just doing a variety of things, running websites and pro boards and those kinds of things related to those MMOs. And then when I got burnt out of MMOs, and the one that really burnt me out the most was Paizo's and Goblin Works Pathfinder Online. That's what really brought me back into this hobby again. Was just tired of the grind and tired of doing alpha and beta testing and then have a game launch that was still shit. So I was like, I'm going to go right back into the tabletop role-playing hobby, and then ended up having to buy everything that you see behind me again because never followed me from my youth. Have you ever played a zero character level character when creating a D&D character? Yeah, I probably have in the past, but zero level characters are more for like DCC and some other ones. I've done it too. I've had, as a game master, I've had people roll up zero level characters, but level 1 is low enough. I see that in 5e, most people, even these people that are doing live, live streams and stuff like that, the official ones, they'll start at level 5. I was like, I guess they don't realize how bad it makes their system look when they won't even start an official live stream at first level. It's like, all right, tell me you don't like your game without telling me so, by starting your characters off when they're super powerful. And yes, they are super powerful at level 5. That's like the equivalent of like levels 9 or 10 in AD&D First Edition. Yeah, yeah. No, they would have to change so much, and basically, crawl through glass before I get back to supporting them. Um, you know, it can't be wizards. Them like the hoops that they would have to jump through is the disclaimer has to go. That's first and foremost. People like Tondro have to be gone. The Ben Riggs, the other people that were kind of driving some of that, that bullshit that they pitched out there. Um, I'd say that Wizards of the Coast can't be in the hands of Hasbro anymore, or it certainly can't be in Reading, Washington. I'd have to move someplace else, perhaps back to the Midwest before I'd even consider it as well. So my hoops are probably too far for them to ever jump through to get me to back them again. Mhm. Would you go back if Elon Musk bought them? Well, if Elon Musk bought them, he would move them to a different place. He wouldn't leave them there. Um, but yes, I probably would. But again, that's the totally changing the direction um, of the game. It would certainly move it out of, yeah, it would never stay in Reading, Washington. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah. If he bought them, he would move it. He would probably fix a lot of those things that like I mentioned. But I don't know what you know, I think that was just a tongue-in-cheek comment he made anyway. Not that he couldn't afford to buy it, and not even, but he wouldn't just buy WotC, he would buy all of Hasbro. What makes sense for him just to buy WotC? So the live stream with 10 or more players is going to be a challenge to coordinate. On But yeah, if you're live streaming a game, you're doing a live play, yeah, 10 or more is too many. And I think you're probably better off with doing the standard, right? A game master and 5 players, and you go with the Holy Trinity and 2 supports, right? You're going to go with your fighter, your magic user, and your cleric, and then you'll have a thief, and then one other character class that is kind of a utility class, whether it be like a ranger or a paladin, or um, I wouldn't go with any of those other niche classes. Certainly not a bard. Um, Perhaps a druid. I really like druids. Druids are very, very useful in wilderness. Um, illusionists are pretty cool too if they're played well and they have good selection of spells. Um, they can be a pretty good fifth character class in the mix as well. I'd probably go with a druid before an illusionist, though. That would be an interesting conversation. Like if you had to pick your fifth class, what would the fifth class be? And I wouldn't go on a route of saying, well, you get a ranged range-based fighter. I mean, that's technically a ranger anyway. But I would go with the fifth base. That would be a great discussion. Once you've gotten your fighter, your cleric, your magic user, and your thief. What are you going with five? What's the best class to fill in as the utility class? The ranger druid. Lizardman. Lizardman was my first character class. A Lizardman fighter was the first one I played in 1978. My game master let me do it, which is why I thought we were playing Holmes Edition. But I loved the Lizardman, picture in there so much that I named my character Dat, D-A-T, which is Trampier's initials, and played a fire. He didn't live too long. I think he died in our first adventure. Fifth is a Cavalier. Cavalier is a broken class. So Cavalier is an absolute broken class. So is Barbarian, as a matter of fact. From the Unearthed Arcana, first edition, they're both broken classes. Cavalier is if he's not mounted, he's useless, or close to useless. The Barbarian is a juggernaut for the first 9 levels, and then thereafter you would have been far better off having a fighter. Again, in my opinion, in my experience, because I played both, and I found that they was it really? It was your first two? Inspired by the same picture in the monster manual. Yeah, it was. But he, like I said, he did not last long. I don't remember him getting through our first dungeon adventure. My second one was a half elf thief playing a female on top of that. She turned out to be probably my first character that was more leaning towards chaotic evil. She was greedy as hell, and she didn't survive very long either. And then I want to say my third character was a fighter who went up to 5th or 6th level, and he was brutal in a battle. He was like, he could really hold his own. Might have even been 7th level if I remember. But he wielded a bastard sword, and he was, double specialized in a bastard sword. He was my first character with an 18-100, naturally rolled 18-100 strength. So he was a beast in combat. But he was another one that was kind of like a loose cannon. He ended up getting overwhelmed by a horde of hobgoblins when we invaded into Ayuz from the Shield Lands. And I think the other player characters kind of left him out to dry because he was a bit of an ass. So it was like, kind of left him, you go run off there, proto Leroy Jenkins, 30 years ahead of your time. And then I played a halfling thief, and that halfling thief, because we played several characters, simultaneously too. And so my halfling thief, who eventually became a halfling thief acrobat, and then we used the Dragon magazine. So he eventually broke free of the level caps to a certain extent. So he became an 18th level thief acrobat and 9th level fighter. And he retired as a quasi deity. We used the rules from Dragon magazine for him to ascend to quasi deity. Which I think, if I remember correctly, it was like quasi then hero, or was it hero then quasi? But he was a quasi deity when he retired. Um, he was the only character that survived two foray. No, he survived one foray into the Tomb of Horrors. Um, the first group we sent in there all got, total party wiped. He also survived um, the Vault of the Drow and the Demon Queen of the Web Pits adventures. Yeah, my second character was a half elf. I only played two female characters, but I did play a female barbarian at one point too. But yeah, it was like, as a teenager, you're playing a female character. It's like, whatever. Never played them stupidly, like I've seen in modern era. You know, now I really don't like when people play outside of their gender. Um, I had a player recently ask, it was like, would you mind if I play? I was like, listen, I've never experienced in the modern era a guy that can play a female character well. So I prefer you not doing so. And my one female player, when she plays male characters, I always wish that she would just play a female character too, because she does really well with it, and you would expect that. Anyone ever been a campaign where all of the players were strictly only members of the fighter class? No. Although I am currently running an OSC campaign where they're all dwarves, and it's an all dwarf campaign, and absolutely loving it. It's working so well. As a matter of fact, I got to check and see if we're supposed to be running tomorrow, running that campaign tomorrow. That just reminded me to double check that and see if we are. If we are, that's going to be something I have to think about during the day. I got my brother visiting me tomorrow too, so that's going to be tight. Anywho, not all fighters per se. I've several low magic campaigns where nobody in the party had access to spells. Conan D20 did that very well. Conan 2D20 did very well with solo player. So one player running one character, and then you just enhance them with some henchmen, and that system works great for that. Now, when I was playing Age of Conan, which was the MMO, we broke the system and showed them how they had to make corrections to it. What we did was there was a particular boss battle where you'd go into the caverns, you'd come across this boss, and the way the bosses in that game worked was they would have attacks, and then they would have counter attacks, and then all the player classes had their attacks, and then they would go into sequences of cooldowns and such, and the boss monster would know, like, when it took attacks, like it would anticipate the other attacks and from the other classes and everything, and it would always like be able to respond. And so the battles lasted a while. And then one time we went in with 5 barbarians, and with all of the same skills and in the same order and everything. And when I would fire my A attack, and then B, and then C, and then the next person would fire their A, B, and C, and so on and so forth, and the boss mob would respond to my A and B, and it would trigger its first counter, and then that counter would be on a cooldown. Then when the second one did the same thing, it had no counter for that anymore, and we ended up burning this boss in like 3 rounds. All right. And it was like we just learned the trick. And the way that Funcom responded to that, because this again was during beta, the way they responded to that was that they put a and they gated the entry into the into the caves, into all of the boss battles going forward, where you had to have one of each character class, otherwise you couldn't enter into that instance. That they were all instance dungeons. And so yeah, it's even in a computer game, when you have the same character class, you could break the system. And I think the same thing would hold true with a tabletop role playing game. Like I know that my AD&D first edition campaign, from a few years ago, we had like we had two full blown clerics, a paladin, and then a druid, and that's a hell of a lot of healing going on. And yeah, they used to fight through some pretty challenging combats with so much healing at their disposal, that they were able to really take on some pretty crazy challenges. Now, of course, they've had we played 108 sessions, and I believe in 31 of those 108 sessions, player characters were brought to negatives, and had to be quickly stabilized, and had to make a death saving throw, not to save their lives and bring them back, but to they only had one system shock check. That basically that's what they were. There were system shock checks once they went into negative, to see if they survived going into negatives. They were not stabilized by making that. They would still continue to bleed out. But we only had one combat where 3 characters got put down and one died. But overall, it was like 33 out of 33 or so out of 108 sessions, a player character went into negative. So I thought it was pretty well balanced, um, deadly wise, let's say. So let me get to some more of your comments here. I've only played D&D twice and DM twice, 4 times total, and was going to play it once, but my friend told me it was super boring. Yeah, your friend's wrong. I was saying, yeah, your friend has a right to be wrong. Yeah, it is not super boring. No, it really depends. I mean, just look at what I just described. You know, 108 sessions, and 33 possibilities of death and one death. You don't get that in 5e. Trust me. What time are we slaying goblins tomorrow? We are we're shooting for 8 o'clock, 8:30ish or so. Good to see you. Yeah, I was trying to remember. Are we playing actually tomorrow night? And yes, we are. So yeah, looking forward to it. And I got to see if all 4 of us are present. But if it's not 4, then we'll have 3. I got to see. Hey, if anybody wants to play OSC, a dwarf, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, just drop a line on my Discord, um, and say, hey, I'd like to play in that. I'll get you suited up as fast as possible for tomorrow. Not sure. Let me see what we have. I can't believe I almost forgot. Almost forgot totally about that game tomorrow night. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I have a feeling that we only have. I have a feeling we only have 3 of the 5. I don't think Vincenzo is there anymore. His icon isn't even showing up there anymore. But yeah, long live Sal. Yes, your mule is there. He has been saved, and we'll see where the rest of you go. Hey, if it's only 3 of you, we're going to go with 3. I will. I'll be wrapping up this stream very soon, so that I can do a little thinking about that before my day starts tomorrow morning. So yeah, I'm going to do that actually. I'm going to wrap up this stream here, and I thank everyone for popping in. Let me put up the thing here first. So my Rumble. Let me see if I just go to my home. There it is. So my fellow YouTubers over here. Oh, you're Vincenzo. All right. Well, your picture's not on there anymore. Your picture broke up. Did you get rid of your logo, your icon? your picture's gone. Yeah, on the front entrance before going in, your picture is gone. That's why I was like, did Vincenzo drop? Or did you cancel? You get rid of the image. Sometimes that happens with the image. So if you haven't joined me over on Rumble, there is the link on Rumble. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel and you're here watching, please do consider subscribing. I will put that here. So that is for YouTube. And let me see if that's actually going over onto there as well. Yes, it is. So it's posting on both. So I don't have to jump back and forth. So crossover. Go on both sides and follow on both sides if you haven't done so already. And if you're looking to play in an OSC game on Saturday nights, playing just a dwarf character, just jump into my Discord and you're welcome to do that. I will find my Discord link and I will throw that up on here before I log off for the night. And let's go here, and let's go here, and let's go invite to server and copy. And this is only a 7-day invite, but there is my Discord. So you can join my Discord if you haven't done so already. If you're looking to play in any of my games that I'm running, I'm typically running 3 games a week. So I have a I have a Dragon Slayer game that's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That one is full. If you go to if you want to play in my Deadlands game, which is Thursday nights, alternating Thursday nights, Deadlands 2nd edition, just jump in my Discord and tell me there, hey, I want to play on Deadlands Thursday night, that's also 8 p.m.-ish Eastern time. And then OSC, Dwarven Campaign, Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So any of those, the 2 are open If you're free in the mornings and you want to play Villains and Vigilantes, I am doing one on Thursday. Villains and Vigilantes Second Edition. I do that on Thursday mornings. Although my work schedule might have changed slightly, so I'm waiting to see. But you can go there as well. And I have 3 links up here in the chat, so you can go to my Rumble, which is a new one that I've been advertising just today. Started to, so you can join me over on Rumble. You can join me on YouTube, which you're already here from the most part, but if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And then you can join me on Discord. And in there, that's where I link up people with my games, or you can advertise your games. You can do all of that stuff. Yeah, cool. Good to see you there as well. So look, we're losing a connection again for a second. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you, everyone, for following along. You all have a great weekend coming up. I will be, thank you very much for just following over on Rumble. And, good to see you here as well. Mark the Shark. Yeah, good to see you. And this Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern time, I am doing a live stream just like this, but I will be talking about upcoming products, events, trends in the TTRPG hobby. Maybe I'll have some special guests on as well. See whoever wants to step in and talk. And yeah, that's what this is all about. And that will also be streamed on YouTube X and on Rumble as well. So you all have a great one. Take care. Have a great weekend. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention sometime soon. I'll be talking about conventions later on in the tail end of May. You'll have a good one. Take care.